പോപ്കോണിൽ ഇന്ന് മഹാത്മാഗാന്ധിയുടെയും മാർട്ടിൻ ലൂഥർ കിങ് ജൂനിയറിന്റെയും പ്രവർത്തന പഥങ്ങളിലെ സാമ്യതയെക്കുറിച്ച് സംസാരിക്കുന്നു മഹാത്മാഗാന്ധി സർവകലാശാലയിലെ ഗവേഷക വിദ്യാർത്ഥിയായ അലി ഹാരെ റുവ. അവതരണം ഡോക്ടർ ആയിഷ സന, ഡിപ്പാർട്ട്മെന്റ് ഓഫ് പൊളിറ്റിക്കൽ സയൻസ്, കാലിക്കറ്റ് സർവകലാശാല.
Hello everyone. Today we have a special guest with us, and I hope it would be better if he introduces himself. Please.
Thank you. Hello everyone. My name's Ali Harre RUWA. I'm a Kenyan and I'm here in Kerala. I came in 2021 and I'm studying at Mahatma Gandhi University. There I'm doing a PhD course and this is my third year into the study. And I'm doing research on comparing Gandhi and Kingi. So I'm trying to compare these two eminent scholars on non-violence, on their method of non-violence is one of their methods that they were using to bring peace. Gandhi was using non-violence to bring peace in India, also to bring independence in India from the British colonial government. And Kingi was using the same method, non-violence in America, to include African American in the mainstream of the community.
So, can I ask you, what inspired you to make a study, a comparison between Gandhi and Martin Luther King?
That's a very interesting question. I normally get that kind of questions whenever I talk about Gandhi and Kingi. Actually, if you look at Africa, Africa has been a place where people have been fighting each other. There have been conflicts all along in Africa. Name it, in many countries. Congo, there have been a conflict in Congo for many years about minerals that are there. There have been conflict in North Africa. At the moment, as we speak, there is also a conflict in Sudan. People are fighting each other. And if you look at all this kind of conflict, you will find out that the narrative that is written about this conflict is not an Afrocentric narrative. Is a narrative that is not reflecting the African values and principles, but a narrative that is not inclusive of what Africans are going through. So I think there is a very big gap there. That's why I thought it will be important, it will be imperative if I study Gandhi and Kingi, especially on the non-violence method, and I find a way of making it viable in the African context so that we prevent conflict. The conflict that is ongoing, we find a way of stopping it and bring peace entirely, not only in Africa but the rest of the world.
Yes, very interesting actually. And in your study, what do you find, when you look into Gandhi's theory on civil disobedience and King's theory on civil disobedience, what do you see as the similarities?
Yeah, first of all, I will start by describing civil disobedience. Civil disobedience involves a deliberate and public violations of law and regulation. And participants, those who are participating in civil disobedience, are normally aware that they are breaking the law, but they are normally doing it openly. And Gandhi called this method satyagraha, which means soul force or truth force. And he believed this force is a force that is coming from the mind, is coming from the will of the people. And he believed this force is mightier than the physical force. And Gandhi said that those who use civil disobedience or satyagraha as an experiment will be more successful than those who use physical force. So I think and I believe the use of soul force or the truth force is the right use when we are confronted with violence, not only during that time, but I believe is a viable tool that can be used in the contemporary scenario.
Yeah, and what are the differences that you find, when you look into King and Gandhi?
Oh yeah, that's a very good question. One of the differences that I see in their approach is that remember Gandhi, when he was in India, he was fighting for the oppressed people, for the oppressed peasants in Champaran in 1917. He was fighting for the people in Gujarat who were made to pay higher taxes by the colonial government. But his main aim was Swaraj, independence. So that is the main difference between Gandhi and Kingi. If you look at Kingi's civil rights movement, it is a movement that was attempting to include African Americans in the mainstream governance of America. And during that time in America, there was this law called Jim Crow law. This Jim Crow law was a law of segregation and racism. African Americans were segregated. There was a segregation of hospitals. African Americans were subjected to different treatment in different hospitals. White Americans were subjected to different hospitals. And if you look at the hospitals that African Americans were going through too, there were hospitals that they didn't have medicine. They didn't have enough staff. But when you look at the other side of the white people, they were going to hospitals, but these hospitals were hospitals that were fully equipped with all the machinery and equipment, and name it, all the staffs were there. And the contrast is that all these people, African American, the white people, and the white who were living in America by that time, all of them were paying same taxes in the same government, but they were treated differently by the same government. So that is the main difference between Gandhi and Kingi. But if you look at the similarities, all of them were fighting for their people who were oppressed. So all of them were in a struggle. Yeah. And if you look at the first struggle of Gandhi when he was in South Africa, you will remember that when Gandhi was in South Africa, Gandhi was faced with a dilemma. The British people had started the Asiatic Registration Act of 1906, and this act required that all Indians who were staying in South Africa to carry passes at all times. And this is something that didn't go well with Gandhi and the Indians who were staying in South Africa by that time. And Gandhi staged his first protest against this act. And you will also realize that during this time, the Indians refused to comply with this act. And they were ready to be jailed. They were ready to anything to be done to them by the British colony. But fortunately, there was a lot of involvement, especially from the international community. And this involvement pressured the colonial government to repeal the act. And also, if you look also at Kingi's first, remember the first movement or the first campaign that Kingi was doing was called Montgomery Bus Boycott. That took place in 1st December of 1955. And what happened during that time? During that time, a lady called Rosa Parks was in a bus, and she refused to give a seat to a white passenger, and Rosa Parks was jailed, was arrested and taken to jail. And this sparked a protest among the African Americans. They were saying enough is enough. We have to do something about it. So fortunately, Kingi was chosen to lead the movement. So the movement took many days. It took more than 381 days for the boycott. And during this boycott, there was a lot of challenges that African Americans were going through. They had to walk from homes to where they were working, and sometimes they will walk more than 3 kilometers, more than 5 kilometers to and fro. And remember, this boycott took more than 381 days. But eventually, what are we seeing? Eventually, we are seeing that the Supreme Court was ruling against this act, and the Supreme Court said that this act is unconstitutional. So what are we seeing from this campaign? We are seeing a victory at the end. We are seeing African American being included in the buses. So buses in 1956 in America, especially in Montgomery, Alabama, were allowed to carry both African American and the white, and there was no segregation in the buses.
Okay. And how much do you agree that both Gandhi and King have realized their goals coming to the 21st century? A long time has passed. And how much do you think they have been successful in what they have started?
Yeah, I think what they have started was they did an experiment. What they were doing actually was an experiment. And this experiment started with Gandhi. The non-violence experiment started with Gandhi and in 1906 in South Africa. And it went on up to 1948 when 47 when India had gone to independence. And in 1955, King picked it up, this experiment, and continued with it up to 1968 when he was assassinated like Gandhi. And what we are able to learn from these two campaigns is that actually non-violence works. Non-violence works. We are seeing after 1955 a lot of social activists in many parts of the world using non-violence. In Philippines, we saw people who were using non-violence. Parts of Africa, people were using non-violence. In South Africa, we saw Nelson Mandela using non-violence, and he sacrificed his life because non-violence is also about sacrifice. So he sacrificed his life and he was jailed for 27 years fighting for the oppressed Africans in South Africa. So I think non-violence works. What we need to do at the moment is to find a way of using it in our scenarios. We are in today's world. We are faced with a lot of conflict, and it is the right moment. This is the right moment to stop these wars that are going on, and we use an alternative means of bringing peace, and that is non-violence.
Yeah. So Ali, so it has been almost 3 years that since you have come to Kerala. So
Yes.
how do you find the place?
Oh, I find Kerala to be like Africa, and the culture of Kerala is more of an African culture, a culture of inclusivity and culture of caring each other. When I first came to Kerala, people were asking me, Karicho, Karicho. So I thought Karicho was a greeting. Then later I learned that Karicho was someone is asking, have you eaten? Have you eaten? So I think this kind of a culture is a very nice culture, is a unique culture, is a culture that needs to be emulated by other cultures around the world. I think this is a heritage, and the rest of the world need to emulate this kind of a culture, asking the wellness of a person and ensuring that your neighbor has taken food.
Yes.
Yeah, I've also learned some few things about Malayali. In the beginning, when I come, the first day I remember when I came in Kochi Airport, and it was at night. So I told the driver that I'm hungry. Can we go somewhere and eat something? So we went into a nearby restaurant, and I saw some red things, red stew, and actually right now I know it was some curry and some parota, but by that time I didn't know it was called parota. So when I took it, it was really hot. It was really hot. The chilies, because in my place we don't take chilies. So I took chili for the first time, and it was really a very big challenge. But now I can say it doesn't have that kind of effect that used to have in the beginning. Yeah.
So what are your favorite food now from Kerala?
Oh, favorite food is kappa biryani. I like kappa biryani. Kappa biryani is very nice. I like kappa biryani. I also like biryani from Calcutta. Yeah, biryani from Calcutta is one of the best. I was in Calicut is one of the best. So I was in Kerala, but most of the biryani there, you get biryani but with an egg, a boiled egg. Yeah? And when I came here, it is different. The biryani here doesn't have a boiled egg. And the taste of this biryani is fantastic. I can say it is the best in the whole world. It's a signature biryani.
Yes, we have a lot of fans for our biryani.
Yeah.
Okay. So, at home, what is your major food? At Kenya?
In Kenya, our staple, our food that is normally eaten everywhere is called ugali. Ugali is from maize. So we take maize and then we grind. We get the powder, maize powder, and then we boil water, and then we put the maize flour, and then we make a dough out of it. So we normally eat that one with curry. So we can take any curry, egg curry or vegetable curry, any kind of curry. We take with that one. But the challenge is that most people, when I introduce, especially Malayali, when I introduce them to ugali, they're saying, "Oh, Ali, it doesn't have any taste. Why don't you put a ghee a little bit? Why don't you put this one?" I tell them that's how it's supposed to be cooked. It's supposed to be tasteless, and then you eat with the stew or curry.
Very interesting to listen, especially, as a student traveling and then experiencing different cultures. I'm sure it must have enriched you as a person also.
Yeah, definitely it has. I've learned a lot. They say when the best teacher is through traveling. When you travel, you learn a lot, and I can attest to that. And when I came here, was my first time to reflect on myself. Whatever I see, I reflect on myself. Something that I didn't do when I was back home. I was think everything was normal. But when I came here, I started reflecting. Oh, this is something, we don't do this in Africa. We do this, we also don't do this. Like wearing mundu. In my country also wear something like that. Yeah, so when I came here, I saw people wearing mundu or dhoti. I said, okay, these people are also wearing something like us.
Great. With that, I think you have answered my final question. Thank you so much for talking to me. It was a pleasure to listen.
Yeah, thank you so much, Aisha, Dr. Aisha.
Thank you.
It was my pleasure. And thank you, listeners, for taking your time and listening to us. Until next time, thank you so much.
ടോക്ക് ഓണിൽ ഇതുവരെ സംസാരിച്ചത് മഹാത്മാഗാന്ധി സർവകലാശാലയിലെ ഗവേഷക വിദ്യാർത്ഥിയായ അലി ഹാരെ റുവ. അവതരണം ഡോക്ടർ ആയിഷ സന.